All right, so let's talk a little bit about direct marketing mathematics. The mathematics associated with direct marketing turns out to be fairly simple, but you probably need to get walked through it one time and then have some examples to make sure that you can make these calculations on your own. The key to direct marketing is that it is measurable and therefore accountable. The key to direct marketing measurements are the marketing costs, that is the cost of designing and printing an offer, both whether it's online or traditional, mailing costs, and any list costs that you might um, incur. Product numbers include revenues, cost of goods sold, of course, the gross profits, and then of course net profits associated with the individual product offerings. Remember, we had an example early on about the Oldsmobile automobiles and how the profits from each individual purchase were so high that the response rates didn't have to be very high to be profitable. Some key calculations: the break-even response rate. This is the cost per delivered offer divided by the gross profit per transaction. Second is the number of responses needed to break even. This, of course, is the cost of the marketing campaign. The cost of the marketing campaign broken down by the break-even response rate times the number of delivered pieces. The cost per response is the total cost of the marketing campaign in terms of marketing costs divided by the number of respondents who actually responded to the direct marketing offer. So let's go through some of the terms that direct marketers use. One is the number of recipients. Of course, this is the number of people that received the offer. Pretty straightforward. The response rate. Well, so in all of direct marketing, the response rate is the number one key element. It is what drives all direct marketers. All direct marketers are interested in the response rate. The response rate determines whether or not the direct marketing offer was profitable or not profitable, successful or not successful, more successful or less successful than other offers. And so this is the linchpin calculation. This may, and so what are the responses that we are measuring? It could be simply replying to an email. It could be visiting a designated link on your website. It could be calling a toll-free number, or even showing up at your place of business with a coupon. It is very important to set up your campaign so you can count the number of respondents, that is, the people who actually responded to the offer. This means, for example, if you want them to visit your website, you need to create a landing page so that the respondents don't get mixed up with everyone else who might be visiting your site. So you need to think through this, because you do need at the end of the day to be able to calculate response rates to determine the successfulness of any direct marketing campaign. Other terms: percentage of qualified leads. Not everybody who responds to a solicitation is actually a true lead, and so you need to identify who the qualified leads are. The close ratio, and this is the percentage of qualified leads that turn into a sale. The average sale is the revenue generated by the average sale. This is calculated by dividing total sales by the number of sales. And so remember, when we were talking about the Oldsmobile situation, we said that the average sale of a 1998 Olds 98 was around $20,000, and the profits on that was around $11,000. Gross revenue. These are, of course, the total sales you can trace back to your campaign. At the front end, of course, it's gross revenues. At the evaluation phase, it might be a more simple sum, and we'll go through some of that idea later on. Gross profit. These are, lots of companies run large-scale campaigns, and so the gross profit is simply the revenues minus the actual cost of the goods sold, all figured out and added together. This does not include the advertising costs. Let me give you an example, and let's use the example of Sammy's Pizzeria. Here I have a couple of pictures of Sammy's Pizzeria and a pizza and their menu. Sammy's is all about family, friends, and traditions. Sammy's Pizzeria has decided to run a direct mail campaign in a 5-mile radius around his restaurant. The offer is 2-for-1 pizzas. The cost of the mailer is 40 cents, including a refrigerator magnet, plus mailing. The mailing cost is 23 cents. The list cost is $70 per 1,000 names, or 7 cents a name. The price of the pizza is $15, and the variable cost per pizza is $2.50. Okay, so now let's look at this for a second here. So one of the things that we need to calculate is the cost of the mailer. Well, the cost of the mailer is what? 40 cents plus 23 cents plus 7 cents, or a total of 70 cents. If the offer is for 2-for-1 pizzas, the offer is what? You bring in the coupon and I give you 2 pizzas for $15. The cost for me to make a pizza is $2.50. So if you give me $15 and it costs me $2.50 times 2, or $5 for the pizza, the gross profit on that is $10. Okay, now if you don't understand that, back up the video and go through this again so that you understand where those two numbers came from. So, what is the break-even response rate? That is, what is the response rate that I have to have on this direct mail offer to break even? Well, every offer costs me 70 cents, and every time I get someone to respond, I make $10. So the break-even response rate is 7%. What does that tell us? That means that what? That means that 7% of the people I send this direct mail piece to have to come in and order the pizza, or have to order it online or order it by phone, and then come in and pick up the pizza. 7% to break even. If I have more than 7%, I actually start making a profit. If I have less than 7%, then I actually have lost money on the marketing campaign. All right, so Sammy sends out 2,000 flyers. What's the break-even response number? That is, how many people have to come in and redeem the coupon for Sammy to break even? Well, all right, so it's 2,000 people, and of course, every one of those people, it cost me 70 cents to communicate with them, so it cost me $1,400. So if I take $1,400 and I divide that by $10 profit for each order, I need 140 responses to break even, which of course is 7% of 2,000. So I need 7% of the people, or 140 people, to break even. Okay, so let's see what actually happened with Sammy. Well, Sammy sent out the 2,000 flyers, and he ended up with 200 coupons returned. That's partially because it was a good offer. And that's partially because he sent that offer out to people who lived relatively close to his pizzeria and had probably driven by it and seen it. Of those 200 coupons returned, 125 are new customers that were not in Sammy's database already, and 75 were customers who were already in the database. So what were the results of the direct mailer? Well, total sales, $3,000. Marketing cost, $1,400. Cost of goods sold, $1,000. Profit, $600. But also, Sammy was able to get 125 new names in his database and 125 new customers that sampled the product for the first time. Plus, some of the old customers, the 75 old customers that came in, had not been to Sammy's for a while, and others were older customers that really felt appreciated for getting the coupon. So at the end of the day, it was a win-win-win situation for Sammy. Every direct marketing campaign is evaluated using some version of those calculations. Here's a typical spreadsheet with the calculations for a marketing campaign. So for the same company, we have campaign A, campaign B, and campaign C. And you can go through here and see here's the number of people in the database who the offer was made to, the offer prep cost, the mailing cost, the response rates, the number of sales based on that response rate, the average sales, the cost of goods sold, total revenues, total costs, net profits, and then profit per offer. These are the kinds of data and the kinds of calculations that are necessary all the time. And this looks relatively straightforward. Let's see if you can, in fact, fill in the blanks. So, what are the number of sales? Well, we can make that calculation by looking at the number of people in the database times the number of people who are in the database who were actually sent the offer times the response rate. When we make that calculation, we'll see that the number of sales varies by each campaign. Next, we would like to know what are the total revenues? Well, how do we make that calculation of the total revenues? Well, total revenues are the number of sales times the average sale. And so we would need to multiply those two numbers together and, of course, put them in the total revenue categories. Once again, this is simple mathematics. Next, we'd like to know what are the total costs? Well, the total costs include marketing costs and the cost of goods sold. So the marketing costs are the cost per offer, prep cost, the mailing cost per offer, and of course in this case we don't have any list costs because these people are already in the database. And then the marketing, and then of course we need the cost of goods sold, and of course the cost of goods sold would be, total cost of goods sold would be the number of sales times the cost of goods sold per sale. So we would multiply those numbers together and we numbers that look like this, total costs. Okay, well, once I have costs, then I need to calculate net profits. Well, net profits are pretty simple to calculate. They're what? Revenues minus costs. Straightforward, simple enough. And then, of course, the last that we would like to make is the profit per offer. That is, for each offer I sent out, how much money did I make? And of course, this is a real important notion for database marketers because this is an indication of how profitable it is to trap names and send out offers. So this is how much money do we net, how much profit do we net per offer. And of course, to make that calculation, I need to divide my net profits by the number of people who were sent the offer in the first place. All right, there we go. Okay, so the offers in campaign A and B, every offer I sent out netted me around $10. For the direct mail piece, email piece rather, it was only 79 cents per offer, even though the offers cost less. So at the end of the day, all database marketers are direct and interactive marketers, and they all need to be able to calculate the response rates and the profitability of each campaign. And lots of direct marketers are hiring people to do just that sort of analysis.